Hello and welcome to another episode of Grassroots, the show where we showcase the stories of the people at the coalface of this great industry. We've got some great stories on this afternoon, so stay with us. And we welcome Sam Doran to the show. Sam, looking forward to today's episode.
Adam, always great to be with you. And I'm very impressed today because that jacket colour, it's not live grass really, it's like dead Australian grass that you get over summer, or if you've cut it a little bit too tight. I do like that jacket, it suits you.
It reminded me of the carpet that was in my grandmother's house, so it might be a recycled, what do they call, I
don't know.
Upscale?
Upscale carpentry. This is how we roll here on Grassroots. But on a serious note, we've got some really good stories coming up tonight. And I know we say that every episode, but it's got a bit of a love the horse theme to today's show. And part of it is we get to meet a great Australian racehorse who's taken on an ambassadorial role.
Yes, for the Kids Foundation, and they do a terrific job supporting kids and families who've endured trauma. Let's hear about how Makybe Diva, one of the greats of the turf, has become part of that association.
The Kids Foundation is now in its 31st year. Founded by Dr. Susie O'Neill, one of the aims is to assist children and families who have endured trauma and to find their new normal. To help celebrate the horse's birthday, the Kids Foundation announced three-time Melbourne Cup winner and Hall of Fame legend Makybe Diva as an equine ambassador for the Tour de Horse in 2025.
We were really excited to have Makybe Diva here today. There's a really lovely story behind why she's an ambassador for Kids Foundation, or why she's an equine ambassador. Back in 2020, we were just returning to work after COVID, and we walked into our office and we'd had everything stolen. And Neil Mitchell was on 3AW and he happened to tell the story, and Tony Santic was listening, and he rang in and said, I'm going to donate $10,000 to this foundation, which he did, and that gave us the money to really get back on our feet.
We supported it a few years ago when the place got robbed and stuff, so we donated then, and very happy to help.
When we were looking for an equine ambassador, we couldn't think of anyone more deserving than Makybe Diva, so we were really super excited when they accepted our offer, and so we were really happy to have her as part of our foundation.
Susie starting the foundation has been great. I wouldn't know where I'd be without the Kids Foundation, purely because I was able to encounter so many people like myself and just sort of talk to them and have a lot of experiences with them, and I found out that, oh well, they're living life, so I can too, sort of thing. So none of that would happen without Susie, and I've been involved with the foundation ever since.
Tour de Force in 2024 was a great success, but you've got bigger plans again for next year.
We certainly have. Look, we had 17 horses last year. We know that we'll be at least 20 to 24 this year. We're capping it at 24 because we want it to be a boutique, unique experience. But we're setting up our own village, which is going to be situated in the Hunter Valley. We'll be still doing the 200 kilometres that we'll be riding throughout the beautiful countryside there. But we'll also have two events. So we'll be going in the parade at Tamworth Country Music Festival again, but then coming back to do the Tour de Horse and timing it with the Scone Horse Festival.
Tour de Horse, it was great. It was one of our very first and interesting ideas, but it worked out all for the better, and now we've gained so much more partnerships and involvement from people who have been on the tour this year, and next year is just going to be bigger and better.
Our aim in 2025 is to do the same with our equine program, so to run several camps, at least 6 camps. We're also hoping to set up a training education centre where young people that are survivors can progress with career opportunities, and then the other program that we're trying to run is to actually double what we did last year in the education side and work with 400,000 children rather than 200,000.
For Makybe to become the ambassador for the kids, I think it's amazing for the kids and for her, you know, going forward. So her name will be there for a long time, and hopefully she helps a lot of kids going forward.
VRC have been amazing for Kids Foundation. They really got behind 2024 and helped us get it off the ground, and for their continued support we really can't thank them enough.
I was lucky enough to see Makybe Diva race many times over her career, a couple of Melbourne Cups. Post her career, I've been able to meet her twice. Once at Tony Santic's, they brought her out and paraded it for us, and the second time here. Both times, Adam, this is going to sound a little odd, I've had goosebumps both times she's walked up.
She's got a presence, doesn't she? And what would she be, in her late 20s
She's
now?
26 at the minute.
Okay, yeah, she looks fantastic. I loved when she walked past her statue there at Flemington as well. It was just great seeing those two together, and she's a great ambassador for that organisation. And that Tour de Horse that they were talking about, that 200-kilometre fundraiser, it started walking pace, but it raised a lot of money for that organisation. It's conducted in the Hunter Valley, and yeah, if you can get involved or you can support the Kids Foundation, please do so.
Yeah, Dr. Susie O'Neill does an amazing job. Melanie Mullen, who runs the communications for her. Most of the people who work for the Kids Foundation are actually volunteers. They donate their time to it. And when I've had Susie here in the studio a couple of times, that $500,000 goes an incredibly long way. So they're aiming to get $1 million for the next one, and that'll go even further because the programs they run are incredible. And as you pointed out, you know, they do help kids who have gone through some very traumatic experiences.
A great story there, and there'll be more on the other side of this break on Grassroots.
If I were to describe a horse to somebody that had never seen one, I would say picture a big Burmese mountain dog. He's got at the heart of gold, I would say, personality plus, so trusting. What we ask of them is incredible, and I think they trust us because we trust them and we love them. I'm Julie Bramucci. Most people know me as Jules. I have a very little operation called Rafiki Equestrian. I chose the prefix Rafiki because Rafiki means friend, and to me, first and foremost, these animals have to be my friend. I can't ask anything of them if they're not my friend. Retrain horses off the track and just try and assess them so that I can hopefully transition and find them a good pathway into a long life after racing. When I was a kid, I was obsessed. I didn't come from a horsey background. I grew up in a little village in Wales, and we had wild ponies that would roam around. And I'd sit in my class, and on occasion when the grass was good, the wild ponies would come to the playing fields, and I would sit there just longing out the window that I could have a pony. I must have been 8 or 9. I made a rope halter. I caught this little roan pony, rode him home through the village bareback, tied him to the washing line and begged Mum, could I keep him? Because clearly he wanted to be my pony. Don't know where we were going to keep him. Turned out he was an unbroken 4-year-old stallion. I just used to grab him and was like, come on, we got a good little patch of lawn you can eat at home. Love the horse. To me means everything about them. Their big hearts, their beautiful eyes. You can see so much of a horse's soul through his eye, and just being around the horses, it's such a relaxing feeling. They unknowingly just give you so much. For me, I love the horse. I just love being with them when I'm feeding them. I talk to them. I actually have conversations with and for them. I don't know, what are you saying to me at the moment, Bronze? Are you saying, well, I'm definitely saying you have a carrot hidden somewhere. Probably come across as a mad person, but it's really quite funny. It's rewarding in the sense of for what I get back from it personally. Financially, it's really a struggle. I think owners aren't aware that basically our costs are no different to having a horse in full race training. I do wish there was some more support out there. I love the thoroughbreds so much because for me, they've seen so much as a young horse. You know, they've gone through, a lot of them have gone through yearling sales, they've been to the races, they get handled well from an early age. So already you've got a well-rounded, well-balanced horse. And then they can adjust so easily with a bit of love and care and TLC to then go on and be a pony club horse, a competition horse, a therapy horse. They're so versatile, and I think that's something you don't find in many of the other breeds. When they come to me after racing, the first thing I want to do is to get their confidence, and they need to be my friend. The first couple of weeks, I might just spend time with them whilst they're eating, but I find from doing that then they do trust me, and they don't stress when we're in awkward situations that they might normally be scared in. Well, having horses in my life means I'm happy. I think it means I'm fit. It means I spend too much money on them for sure, but it's better than therapy, hey? My life without horses would be empty. I can't imagine a life without horses. They're everything to me, they really are. I certainly wouldn't be a happy person to not have horses in my life.
Amazing there, and you can see Julie's affinity with the horse as well, and no, she really does love the breed, doesn't she?
I've met some incredibly passionate people making stories over the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years for racing.com, but Jules has to be right up there. She's only got a very small operation and she's incredibly hands-on, and I think that really helps with what she does. But she truly believes in the horse, the power of the horse, the healing of the horse, and wants to retrain them and give them the best possible life. And if you're going to be an off-the-track thoroughbred, I tell you, you want to end up at Jules's place.
Now, did I see a cameo appearance by you down there in the waters on that second horse?
You promised me, Adamo, you weren't going to bring it up. But yes, that was me. I'm going to use the term riding the other horse there with Jules. It was great fun. She was very generous to give me the opportunity to ride the horse, and we did have a lot of fun. He wasn't a great mover. I'm not a great rider, but he wasn't a great mover. I think he was happy to have a bit of saltwater therapy rather than doing any riding with me.
No, it looked great there down on the Ballinarine Peninsula near Geelong. Well, we're going to change to the Victorian Equine Group and see the great work they're doing, especially in the early stages of looking after foals and newborns. The horse ambulance is a new initiative from them, and Sam, you actually caught up with this group a short time ago to find a bit more about the horse ambulance.
Australia has always been a country of innovation. You think of the Hills hoist, cask wine and Wi-Fi, and now due to the Victorian Equine Group, we've got the foal ambulance. I am so excited to talk about this. Where do we start?
Where do we start? I guess we just try to solve a problem that we saw existed, and we sort of muttered about with a few different ideas, and in the end we decided to have a go at making an ambulance.
So this ambulance that we're in front of us here, this is actually a second-hand. This was a human ambulance back in the day.
So that's right, it was a human ambulance back in the day. So essentially inside we haven't had to do a whole heap. You can see all the cupboards are fitted. It's pre-fitted with all sorts of nooks and crannies for storing bandages and whatnot. The oxygen system was already in it. We had to adapt it for a slightly bigger patient. We had to build ourselves a table which could go on the ambulance trolley to go in and out of the ambulance. And then we've had to fill it up with all the bits of equipment that we need, like the X-ray and the anaesthetic machine and the monitors.
It's a great idea, but how did it actually start? Were you just sitting around the table here at the clinic?
So it started really with this the need to take the foal to the CT machine, and there was a lot of ideas floating around, but in the end some smart cookie came up with the idea of buying an ex-human ambulance.
When you're out on site, you visit one of the stud farms. How many crew are involved in setting up what we have in front of us here, and how long does it take?
So Sam, when we get to the stud farm, it probably takes us about 10 minutes. We would generally have a crew of 3. It will take one of our surgeons and one of our intern vets who acts as the anaesthetist for the procedures. So yes, this piece of equipment here is a gaseous anaesthetic machine. It's actually an ex-army model. This here is our X-ray, so backbone of what we're doing on farms really. We do a lot of corrective procedures involving straightening out of horses' limbs, so the X-ray is a very important part of it to see where we're putting our hardware.
Mike, this table in front of us here, I'd imagine this has been specifically designed for foals to take the extra weight more than a human.
So you're right, Sam, and the table was specifically designed for the job that we needed to do. We obviously have the trolley underneath, which allows the table to be placed in and out of the ambulance. You've all seen them go in the back and the legs fold up, which is quite a nice thing. But we had to design and make the table on the top so that yes, it can handle a few extra kilograms. Yeah.
I'd imagine, Mike, that when you're dealing with stud farms that might have up to 100 or plus 100 foals born every year, that a system like this is a big time-saving device for them.
It's really good for the studs because they also don't have to either ship them to the clinic, as they may have had to do before, or lend a large number of staff to helping.
There's a lot of stud farms in the district. Who are the ones that have been the biggest supporter and really bought into this project?
Probably our biggest supporter at the moment have been Widden Victoria, so they've come down here and they're really looking to step up the game, and yeah, they've been big supporters of the ambulance.
The foal ambulance has been used fairly regularly here at Widden throughout the season last year. And look, the operation's been great. The setup that they've got in the ambulance and the team that comes with them have really been good for us. It's made things a lot easier on farm, and I think it's great for the animals.
What are the procedures that you generally do when you are on site?
The procedures we generally do on site are elective procedures, so things like hernias. We do a lot of screwing of legs, horses with angular limb deformities. When they're growing, we have a chance to intervene and try and straighten that leg so that they're a more correct racehorse and experience less problems in the long term.
The foal ambulance has certainly made a difference to safety for mares and foals during surgery. The foals are intubated, they're monitored constantly throughout the surgery. It's the same as bringing it's an on-site surgical suite that they can move from farm to farm.
As an equine vet, you're really involved in the whole life cycle of a horse. So this is just an added benefit to work with the farms and work with the horse to ensure they have a safe life.
That's exactly right, yeah. I mean, we start from the scanner and black dots on the screen all the way through to older race horses and then geriatric horses. So yeah, this is just an add-on to help us intervene early and stop problems happening before they occur.
So would you love to see this further rolled out?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think it's quite a good idea. We thought we'd give it a try. It seems to have worked, and yeah, you never know. We'll maybe have a fleet of them one day.
Yeah, I can imagine all the benefits of bringing that service to the farms, especially during the breeding season when you'd have lots of foals probably needing similar treatment or being looked at a similar time. And it could be quite traumatic to take those foals away off site. So I can imagine something like the foal ambulance will just increase in its popularity.
I think it will too. And, we're talking about yearlings potentially that are worth millions of dollars, or weanlings even at that stage, depending on their breeding. So it's a safety issue. It's well developed, and there's a great thought behind it. And well done to the team there for bringing that and alerting us to that story as well.
I look forward to seeing how that develops over the years. The foal ambulance there from the Victorian Equine Group. We're going to take a break on Grassroots. Back with more in a moment.
On April 4, 2016, a group of thoroughbreds was discovered at a property in Bulla. 23 horses in total were saved and ended up here at Horse Shepherd Equine Sanctuary. Through the help of Anne Young and her team, this became a story of survival and thriving. This is the ultimate love the horse story.
Can't not love the Bullas, to be honest. I mean, one, they did a lot for us in terms of, you know, who we are and identity. They're just so tough. I mean, they say thoroughbreds aren't tough, but by God, he's tough.
Why do you love Quinn the most?
I think because it's just an ongoing battle and because he's a Bulla. He's had so many battles and he's the one horse that's taught us not to give up. And so many times I thought we were going to have to put him down, and he's just battled through.
I still cannot believe that someone would do the things they did to the Bulla horses.
Oh, I can. But what I can't believe is how did he survive? Look, how did 20 survive? How did mums? There were 2 mares with foals. And yes, and he don't.
But Quinn, that will to
amazing.
live, I'm amazed.
Horses are so stoic that to know when they're in pain and when to make that call.
And why do you do it?
I think once you start, it's really hard to stop. And I think Quinn's why we do it, to be honest.
This is one of the Bulla horses here, Sunny.
Yeah, this is Sunny. Sunny, other than Quinn, is the one that's really struggled all the way through.
We often talk about animals not really remembering things, but do you think he has an understanding of what he's been through?
I think it's the malnutrition. I think it plays a real role. He was young too. It's the younger ones that have really struggled.
The last time we saw News, we were out at the previous owner's property and we filmed him in the rain and he looked spectacular. He was like the most happiest horse of all time.
So News has come back home. The family sponsors News, but he lives here now with the other Bullas.
Fill me in with what happened with
So-
beautiful News here.
Yeah,
He's such a beautiful boy.
Tragically, the daughter passed away.
Who was riding News?
Yeah, with a brain tumour. Beautiful person, and News was her horse, so News has come back home. I think what's really important though in the story of News is that every horse here, including you, have a right to return. I think the good thing in the story is that he's got a safe place to go. So that's Big Grey.
One of the Bullas.
One of the Bullas, and of all the Bullas, she's got the worst self-preservation.
We've got a straggler down the end here.
That's Bones.
This is Bones.
Bones!
Bones the Bulla. Beautiful Bones here is just making his way up to join us.
He's so pretty.
We've got 3 Bullas in the paddock here.
Yep.
It's remarkable that they've been able to share their life together.
Yep.
With
yep.
what they've been through.
And they know each other.
What's your message to people who own horses, who race horses, who just like looking at horses? You're at the coalface of saving them. What
Yep.
message would you have for people at home?
I think a lot of consideration's got to be made for the lifetime of horses. Our oldest horse is 37 as a standardbred. That's a long time and a lot of lifetime of care. And I think we've got to get our heads around that. You know, we can't always have rescues being the last stop for horses. It's got to be better than that.
Do people still inquire about the Bulla horses?
Yes, the Bulla horses in Roe are our flagship horses. They know them by name, and they do have personalities, and we try to bring personalities out in our social media. We've had donations from people that watched the last racing.com documentary on them that hadn't known about them. In fact, it was only last week that someone that went on a walking tour sent me a text and said, wow, I watched the Bulla story and didn't realise Quinn's story. So And I think we have to keep that story alive to stop it happening again. I know everyone thinks it won't, but it will. It will happen again.
Great story there, Anne, from Horse Shepherd Equine Sanctuary, and the great work that they do with the rescued horses. Not only horses, because Sam, you're there, plenty of other animals that she takes care of as well.
There is a complete menagerie. I think there's turkeys, goats, camels, llamas, cows, sheep.
Wow.
You name it, peacocks. There's a couple of them floating around as well, but horses are the main saviour for Anne and her team. I think there's around about 110 to 115 at any one time, and she heavily relies on donations from her supporters. She's got great activity on social media and does amazing work, and very pleased that I've been able to meet her. It was through unfortunate circumstances, but I'm very pleased that I've been able to make the acquaintance of Anne Young and her team, Troy and Amber, who work very closely with her.
Well, that brings to an end another episode of Grassroots. I trust you've enjoyed the program. Look forward to seeing you next time.
He is a beautiful horse and he is lovely and relaxed. It's a great sign.